they give us $4,500 for education. But it costs the taxpayers $36,000 to keep a kid in the jail. Now you do the math. So if you live in Carwell, or you live in Baskin Ridge, or you live in Sussex County, you're paying the taxes. So it behooves you to help us, no matter where you live or what color you are. How is it that we as responsible adults take care of adults, but we put our children in harm's way like this? How can we have the power that's in this room? Muslims, Christians, Jews, politicians, police directors, deputy mayors. How do we allow that? Right now, as I speak, you got murderers, rapists, child molesters, drug dealers, carjackers in the juvenile jail. So if Johnny Tariq at 13 are in a stolen car and you put them with those kind of people, what is he supposed to do but adapt to a situation? Gang members make a living by three ways. They sell drugs, they rob you and I, or they steal our car and sell it for whole parts. So if you don't give Johnny and Tariq an alternative to how to live, how to eat, or take care of grandma, his little brothers and sisters, what is he to do? They take out their 9 and stick it in our face to get paid. Not because they want to be in jail. They don't really want to be in jail. They love being kids. But when they get out of that structure, they have to go back to what they know best, and that's to survive. So our job is to make sure that we get them alternatives. Good evening. In the name of God, the beneficent and the merciful. First, I know just about everyone in here because I thank Dave because there are a few of us that have been in the trenches, and I wish there was more. But first, I have to commend you for coming out. So I don't want to start acknowledging people, but I cannot go back to work tomorrow if I don't acknowledge our police director, Gary McCarthy. Will you stand up, please? First of all, in the Bible, in the book of James, it says true worship is taking care of the fatherless, the orphan, and the widow. So I'm going to speak to these God-fearing men and women in here tonight and repeat that. True worship is taking care of, it starts out, of the fatherless, the orphan, and the widow. Let me give you a little background of how bad our situation is. The gang members or Crip members or blood members gave you a little background, but let me tell you how bad we really are, because we had the privilege of running the juvenile jail for 3 years. Myself and my warden, Todd Warren, took over for the famous Joe Clark. Joe was a great principal, but a lousy jailer. 67% of all the kids in the juvenile jails are either Bloods and Crips. And you don't come in there and claim you're a Blood or Crip, and because you'll get put in the wrong unit, and that might be, you know, a sad situation. 80% of the kids in the juvenile jail are at a 20% reading level. Okay, 20% of the kids are classified as illiterate. 34% of the kids in the juvenile jail are under DIFAS control, which means they don't have basically a mother and a father. So every time I'm asked to speak at different places, everyone says, where's the mother? Where's the father? They should be taking care of these kids. Well, we know basically there's usually a 65 to 70-year-old grandmother who's really taking care of these kids. Almost 40% of the kids in the juvenile jail, and you notice I call it a jail, it's also called the youth house. So when I tell people, I was the director of the youth house, oh, that's for kids who have a few problems? No. It's a jail. It's a 7 by 10-foot jail that at the end, at 8:45, the door slams and you don't come back out. There's no TV, no radio, no video games. There's a fountain that a lot of times don't work and a bunk. And you don't get out until somebody opens that door with a key. So it's a juvenile jail. And there are 17 of them in the state of New Jersey, and we ran the largest by twice the size. 40% of those kids in that juvenile jail are on some kind of medication. 40%. Now, why do I say that? Because when little Johnny and Tariq are no longer in the jail and who are getting their medications, because obviously some doctor said they need it, now you put them back in the street, where's the medication? I'm not giving it to them. We're not giving it to them as society because we really don't care. He did his little time or whatever he did. Now we're going to put him back in society. So where are we to make sure that Johnny and Tariq get their medication? Because some of them really need medication. But they don't get it. So when they snap off and go crazy and they whack a few people, we say, oh my God. But we failed them. Ron Salahuddin, Sharp James, Cory Booker, Corzine, Dean Sharif, Street Doctor, we have all failed them. Okay, because we haven't done enough, and there's more that we have to do. What do we do in the juvenile jail? How do we turn it around? And I thank Dave for that compliment. The first thing we did is, obviously, the kids needed an education. They needed an education. They were getting 3 hours of school under Joe Clark, who was the principal. He should have known better. 3 hours of school. The state requirement is that you get 4 hours of school in the juvenile, in any kind of jail. But Essex County was so crowded that they allowed Essex County to cut and take an hour from the kids who needed the most. And they give us $4,500 for education. But it costs the taxpayers $36,000 to keep a kid in the jail. Now you do the math. So if you live in Carwell, or you live in Baskin Ridge, or you live in Sussex County, and you say, well, those are black and Latino kids. They don't affect me. I don't even have to go to Newark. Well, you're paying the taxes. So it behooves you to help us, no matter where you live or what color you are. .4% of the people in the juvenile jail, okay, are black and Latino. 99.4. That means that we do get a Caucasian once in a while. Now, do I say that to say that it's just racism? That's not the point. The point is a lot of times, and unfortunately, and you can ask David Muhammad, the street doctor, because they still, under our program, Operation Focus, go to court with the kids from the juvenile jail. And you know what it is for little Johnny Tariq, who's 15 years old, and is sitting up there, and he's just been in that jail, and jail is tough. And the judge says, well, who's here I can turn him over to? And the mother says, I don't want him. How does that make Johnny and Tariq feel? And the judge says, well, what do I don't want to send him back to jail. Well, what can I tell you? Well, the DIFAS work is not there yet, and the social service is not there. He goes back to jail. Back to jail. Now, what is jail? What is that juvenile jail? Think about this. And I testified in front of the state senate, in front of the judicial committee, 15 senators. And I said, how is it that Ron Salahuddin or Gary McCarthy or Cory Booker can have a domestic or maybe have a DWI and they're put in the county jail or whatever because it's a minor offense? They don't go to Trenton State Prison or Rawway State Prison or Maximum State Prison. Well, right now as I speak, you got murderers, rapists, child molesters, drug dealers, carjackers in the juvenile jail. So if Johnny and Tariq, who are 13, are in a stolen car and you put them with those kind of